No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed are greater than the legal services provided by other lawyers. You found the Heart of Dixie podcast number 20. My name is Harry Steele. I'm an attorney in private practice in Daphne, Alabama. We're joined today by content manager and reporter at the Alabama Gazette, Brandon Mosley. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing fine, Harry. How are you?
I'm good. And we have a special guest today, Rodney Walker, a Republican from R-Lineville, Alabama, who is a candidate for United States Senate. How are you today, Rodney?
I'm doing good, Harry and Brandon. I'm doing very good. Thank you for having me.
So you're from what I call the empty part of the state between Auburn and Talladega National Forest, right? That Ashland area up there.
Yes, sir. We're in the east central part of Alabama. District 3 is the congressional district, but yes, sir, that's correct.
And so Brandon, do you ever kick around that? Is that, are we close to Troy? Am I way too far north? I'm way too far north of Pike County.
Yes, sir. So we have a store in Opp, Alabama that's near Troy, but Troy is approximately 3 hours from here.
That's what I thought.
You would have to take Highway 9 from Lineville down to Montgomery, which would be about 2 hours, and then jump on 231 to go on to Troy. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're on the north side of 85. Troy is in the vacant part of the state in the southeast, and you are just north of there, I guess.
Yeah.
North of 85. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm just
basically, if you're a bicyclist, they could bicycle to Georgia.
Right. Okay.
If you're a really good bicyclist.
I'm actually exactly halfway in between Birmingham and Atlanta. It's 100 miles to each one from where we live.
So tell us about all your businesses. I understand that you have cattle and gas stations. Do y'all have Chester's Fried Chicken or Dodge? I mean, I got important questions for you, Randy.
We don't have
Rodney. I'm sorry.
We don't have Chester's Fried Chicken. We do on Walker lands and cattle, which is 750 mama cows and calves and bulls. We're grass farmers, I suppose you would say, for the cattle. We also have pine timberland and that sort of thing. We have the largest gooseneck trailer dealership in the United States, where we sell trailers, cattle trailers all over the country, including Hawaii. We have 5 Patriot Fueling Centers located across the state: Lineville, Alexander City, Wetumpka, Opp, Alabama, and we're finishing construction of one in Montgomery on the Alabama River. We also have Wedowee Quarry Incorporated. It's a granite rock quarry located also in the east central part of Alabama in Randolph County. And then we have Hatchet Creek Leasing, which is a company that leases commercial real estate buildings. I can't hear you, Harry. You went mute.
Yeah, Harry, I can't hear you either. Rodney, do you believe that your ability to manage businesses and grow businesses would be a benefit if you were the U.S. Senator representing Alabama? Would that business experience be a benefit?
I absolutely believe that it would be a benefit. I think that Donald Trump has done a good job of showing you that a businessman can move mountains in Washington, D.C. He's moved mountains in quite a short amount of time during this presidency. It's a lot of things that businessmen understand and can make things happen and move, where the politicians, career politicians, sometimes just get in a grind and things kind of grind to a halt. I very much believe that my abilities would be great in Washington.
I got a question about your trailer business.
Yes, sir.
Do y'all do the whole, like, what part of the fab do you do here? And are they the kind of goosenecks that have like braking systems on them and all that kind of stuff? And do y'all do that in house? And
So,
got all kinds. I think that's fascinating that you do what do you call it? Improved goods, where you're taking something and fabricating it and making it, like building a car almost.
It is very fascinating, but the only thing is we sell Gooseneck brand cattle trailers, and they're made in Bryan, Texas.
You don't make them?
No, sir. Gooseneck Corporation has been in business for 47 years, and they build the trailers, and we're just their largest dealer in the United States.
So I'm just some dumbass lawyer. So when people say gooseneck trailers, it's like somebody saying Kleenex. Okay.
Or IBM typewriters,
right.
Back in the old days when there was lots of different type of typewriters, but
right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're actually selling the brand name Gooseneck trailers, and you are one of the largest dealers. Okay. That makes more sense. I thought you were fabricating trailers. All right.
No, sir.
Brandon, you leading me astray. Okay. So we'll get back to your campaign and stuff, but this is our normal ebb and flow. We talk about some national issues, and then we get into some state stuff. So obviously this was a few days ago. We had a meeting in Anchorage that I thought went disastrously, but hey, what do I know? And so this is going on as we speak. Has anybody looked at it recently? I think they were in the Oval when I broke to sit down to do this. Do you know anything else, Brandon?
I don't know anything beyond that. We met with Putin on Friday, and now we're meeting with Zelensky today. If you're going to get a peace treaty, which Trump really badly wants, the two of them have to agree. And the only way to get them to agree is to, talk to them. And apparently they don't want to talk to each other. So Trump's meeting with one, he's going to meet with the other. Well, he heard from Putin did decrease what he was demanding, but he's still demanding an awful lot in exchange for peace. Hoping we get a counter proposal from Zelensky. It's too early to say whether this is success or failure or what. It's like making sausage, just not pretty to look at.
I would like to interject that also. You said that it went horrible, but the meeting and the sheer gathering of these countries together to try to get something hashed out, I think is very important. And it's not ever going to go completely the way that each person thinks it ought to go, but that's part of the compromise. But peace in that part of the world is very important, and I think that Trump's done a great job by trying to initiate that peace process.
You do have to give Trump a lot of credit for actually making an effort. Our previous president, as far as I could tell, made no effort whatsoever to broker any kind of peace treaty there. I mean, he was just letting them fight it out till last man standing.
Okay, we were funding it. It's a proxy.
Yeah, we were funding it, but
all this goes away if we quit funding it. Agreed. That Russia would flatten the shit out of Ukraine in about 36 hours if they didn't have NATO and United States weaponry. It'd be over with in 36 hours.
The good thing is that now we are getting paid back through the minerals, or we have a loan repayment scheme in place that through the minerals we will get our money back that we just gave away through the last administration. So
the other most important thing that while we're all watching people fly around the world and do a whole lot of nothing, here's where the rubber meets the road, Brandon. And I don't know why they're doing it in Texas. Why not do this in Alabama where you have a super majority and, a governor who will sign anything?
You do it in Alabama because the federal courts have intervened in our congressional redistricting. In fact, a federal appeals court just last week issued a ruling saying that Alabama may not change their congressional redistricting until 2030.
Yeah,
Texas is not under this court order, so Texas can have this fight and we can watch on TV.
Same question. Like, why do we care what they say? I'm about over it. I don't know about the rest of you. So this is what we need to do. If you came in here and you did away with all this gerrymandering in the state of Alabama, and you came in and actually counted the citizenry, I don't know that a Democrat would ever get elected in this state again. And it's not that we're gerrymandering, if we're undoing the gerrymandering that was done by the Democrats in this state when they were trying to hold on to their last little bits of power. So when I was in Conecuh County, Thomas Jackson was one of our representatives, and at one point, his damn district was about 30 feet wide, running all the way up 231. I mean, it took 3 hours to get to his office to talk to our state representative, and I had to have him get anything done.
That's not actually accurate. What happened there was, of course, we can remember in the 80s and 90s, the Democrats control, the 70s and 80s, the Democrats controlled the legislature. They had near total control, and they gerrymandered it so white Democrats would pretty much win every district. There was a lawsuit brought by black legislators challenging the redistricting as it was done by the Democrat-controlled Alabama legislature, guaranteeing that they'd have, I think, 27 majority-minority seats in the Alabama House of Representatives and 8 majority-minority districts in the Alabama Senate. This is all done under the auspices of the 1965 Civil Rights Act. And
yes, that I think's a bunch of bull crap, and that we've done away with the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice, and we certainly should have. And as someone who's been an election manager in a county in this state, I can tell you that I tried to move a polling place across the road. It was a voting house, and it was full of bees, and it was going to cost us $500 to fumigate it so we could have, put a ballot machine in there, right? Make it a polling place. Across the street was a brand new volunteer fire department, and the head of the NAACP tried to hold me up for $1,000 to get a consent letter so that we could move the polling place from the dilapidated building to the other side of the road to the new volunteer fire department. Well, that's what's going on here, and I'm sick of it. And we need some leaders that'll grow a pair and say, you know what? We really don't come put us in jail. Put everybody in jail. Federal government.
We don't want to go to jail.
Or remove us from office, and we'll get, we'll be like Admiral Sims, I guess. We'll all, squalor in poverty regardless of our abilities because we've run afoul of the shitheads from Connecticut. Continue, Brandon.
The Supreme Court has already ruled that the pre-clearance section of the 65 Civil Rights Voting Act is obsolete. Now, the section that says that if you've got a functional area that's majority minority, they're entitled to have their own representation.
They're special because the federal government says so. I've read it somewhere, just like Indians and everybody that's not me and you. It's hilarious.
The court has decided this, and so the court in Atlanta decided that District 1 and 2 need to stretch all the way from the Mississippi line to the Georgia line and just
tell you what, why don't instead of having a big dinner where we all pat each other on the back and John Wall tells us all about butterflies, why don't we get Bill Pryor to come over here? You remember him? He's on the bench over there, isn't he? He's the presiding judge. Let him come tell us all about how we need the federal government to tell us how to conduct an election.
Well, but we're still under the Voting Rights Act, and Steve Marshall.
Yep, because you've all consented to it. If somebody with some guts would have said, you know what, we're just not doing this shit, and you can just keep throwing us in jail, and I guess you can take away our statehood, because I'm pretty sure it's consent of the governed. And you just, like, everybody throwing their hands up and saying, oh, well, the federal government told me to do this. Well, the hell with that.
We received our orders from our masters in black robes, and we
Yes,
are carrying out our orders.
And as someone who has to kiss that ass in that black robe every day, I can tell you I'm really tired of it, especially the
Yeah,
federal.
if Rodney gets to go to the Senate, then all the little federal judges have to be confirmed by Rodney and his 99 companions.
Okay, so Rodney, I live on a body of water called Burns Lake, and it connects to the Tensas River, and that connects to Mobile Bay, which connects to the Gulf of Mexico. So on this skinny water where I live, you can get out. You can go to Cuba. You can go anywhere in the world. Unfortunately, there is an island where after World War II, they mothballed all of the LSTs up here in the river. And to do that, they had to dredge the river out, and they put all the spoilage on what's called Gravine Island. And so if you want to go look at a bunch of fake boobies covered in tattoos, this is the place for you, man. Okay. So as the story goes, there was a boating accident the other day. Are you familiar with this, Brandon?
I am not.
Okay. So me and the pup are at the house, and we hear all kinds of commotion, right? And we get down to the landing, and there's helicopters and state troopers and ambulances and deputy sheriffs. And so it's not quite a Darwin Award. If it weren't some good old boys out there running a trot line, these people would all be dead. Okay. So first part of the story, homemade boat, bad idea. Number 2, nobody on the boat can swim. Number 3, no kill switch. So the homemade boat goes up on plane. It takes on water. It lists. Everybody's dumped out of the boat. The boat comes back around and cuts. Luckily, it cut the daddy's leg off, not the 2-year-old baby or the 35-year-old wife, neither of whom could swim nor had on a life jacket. So yeah, so we had a little bit of excitement down by the house this week. But as I understand that everybody's alive, and they did life flight this fella. Let's see, what do we have next? Court hearings reveal new details in Alabama child sex abuse bunker case. I guess you saw where a bunch of our grandstanding legislators now want to make it a capital crime if you have sex with a child or victimize a child.
Not to have sex with a child, but to rape a child, or sex traffic them like these people were doing down in Bibb County. Again, if we can do this, I'm sure we'll have the votes in the legislature. Will the federal courts allow us to do it is a different question. But again, those are for the guys in the black robes to decide.
Right. But just another, like never let a horrible story pass that we couldn't have exploited for political gain. And that's exactly what I see here. None of these people are going to live 5 years inside the Alabama prison system.
That's exactly
unless you put them in solitary. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So moving on. Have you seen this? The ABC board released a list of proposed rules this week.
Yeah, I've been going
to the
over
implementation of the new hemp law. Okay. So, yeah. Well, I think we wrap it up with some photos that I took this week in the Piggly Wiggly in Loxley. Is everybody, speaking of Darwin Awards, did everybody hear about the Tennessee hiker who was killed by a venomous snake in a state park after picking up the deadly reptile? And I understand there was no religious motivation in this whatsoever. He just is dumb. And
yeah.
And everybody knows that that's not a timber rattler, right? A timber rattler doesn't have a big old rattle on it like that. I don't know who at the New York Post put this together, but most timber rattlers I've seen have little old, maybe they have, 2 rattles and a button, and
if
they're
you don't
greenish
know about
looking.
Snakes to identify that it's not poisonous, don't pick it up. Better deal is if it's a snake, just don't pick it up. I mean, unless it's about, it's trying to get in your hay baler or something. I don't know why you're grabbing the snakes anyway.
True that.
Looks like a shovel behind Harry over there in his office. That's what that rattlesnake
Oh,
needed.
is my dogs over there rolling around on the floor?
No, there's back in the corner. There's a shovel, and that's what that rattlesnake needed, not
Oh
somebody.
yeah. So everybody be aware that I think it was yesterday and today the intracoastal waterway is closed because they're afraid they might drop this 50,000 pound steel beam on somebody and kill them or cause a big explosion. So anyway, they're setting the last beams in place. And once that happens, they'll be moving all those barges and everything out of the way, and the intracoastal waterway will be the superhighway of commerce that it always is. But I think yesterday and today and maybe tomorrow, they've scheduled to have it shut down. So I guess barges are just piling up on either side of this choke point. Ought to be interesting when they try to get things moving again.
We want to avoid an accident like they had in Maryland.
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah. So have y'all seen Whitney Cheatham? Hot criminal?
Who she is.
Oh, well, let me let you in on it, brother. She's a salon operator charged with 25 felonies. And she just happens to be like, the most gorgeous redhead in the state of Alabama. So, I mean, I'll give her that. But yeah, and wasn't it things like, I mean, it wasn't that she killed anybody, but, it was a little more than petty crimes. It's not, Brandon, I wouldn't suggest you ask for her digits when you talk to your buddy up there. So, here in Baldwin County, and I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I see pollution as a theft or an offense against all of us. And it doesn't matter what kind of pollution it is. Doesn't matter if it's stormwater pollution or noise pollution or light pollution or traffic pollution. All of these things that I have to put up with in my life that are created by development or people's greed or whatever. And so
the problem with stormwater runoff is you've got, really muddy, really dirty water that's affecting everybody downstream, whether it's Rodney was cows who probably don't want to drink this, or, somebody who's just fishes on their property. It's like, hey, dude, I don't know what your development is doing, but there's a reason why we have stormwater runoff rules, and you've got to put up black fences and little hay barriers and all this kind of stuff.
Yep. They're called best management practices.
BMPs, yes.
So their BMPs completely failed, or they never put any up. And LaFleur and his merry band of assholes with their new building over here. Yeah, but they named the building after him after
he's a legend
of doing nothing. We named the new facility over here, and of course they've got drones and shit flying all over. So the fact
the drones saw the mud.
No. This was not ADM. This was local residents complained to ADM, and then Channel 5 News came out and flew and did this news report. And 3 days later, ADM goes, "Oh yes, we saw the news report. We're going to do something about it." So anyway,
they had to do an investigation and get their facts right before they acted.
Right, because looking at that image right there isn't proof enough.
On that situation, like if there was a big rain event that was, classified as 100-year flood or whatever, the developer is supposed to, or the person that obtains that stormwater runoff permit, whether it's the grading contractor or whoever, is supposed to report that, self-report to ADM. It shouldn't get to that point, when ADM have to come out there and look at it. There is sometimes a possibility of a little bit, but never that much. That's overboard.
Okay, so I'm in favor of a lot of things that the president has done. I can't say that him rolling National Guard troops out in D.C. is my idea of a liberal democracy. But right? Hey, listen, man. If he'd have said we're going to start a new agency where we're going to round up all the bums. And we're going to put all the bums that are illegal, we're sending them to Gitmo. The bums that are that are veterans. We're going to get them in programs, and then the rest of them, we're going to open up Searcy Hospital down in Alabama again, or Bryce, and put them all down there. But like to criminalize these people and drop them off in Maryland, the DC line, we just march them all down there. I don't know. It seems like a big waste of money, and I don't know what it's going to accomplish.
Whether it's wasting money or not, as I read the Constitution, the District of Columbia is the only territory that the federal government directly controls without a state. To me, it belongs to the federal government. And I don't think there's any question that crime and homelessness and all kinds of craziness was out of control there. I mean, I was up there for the inauguration, so I did get to see the place, up close and personal. I think Trump's within his rights. Whether this will actually work or not is debatable, but I think he's well within his constitutional powers. I mean, we'll find out, according to the, when the federal court tells us what the president can do and what the president can't do, because they're the court and they make these decisions. But if you read the Constitution, it's the District of Columbia, which is, it's the federal government, which is headed by the president, not the DC mayor or whatever local clowns they have in the city government there, which the federal government allows to do whatever.
I think we all need to take a long break and remember that this is consent of the governed and not Rome, Brandon. It's not Rome, and it's not the Constitution, Charles. It's that this is where people live, and the idea that they have to put up with Pam Bondi being in charge of their police force just seems a little over. Some woman from Florida is now in charge. Is it legal? Is it constitutional? Sure. And if I were the president and there were 40 carjackings, and if it was anything like Birmingham, Alabama, and that was our capital, shit, yeah, I would I would supplement the police force with whoever we could spare from the MPs. But the idea of putting a stormtrooper on every corner with a Kalashnikov, I don't know how that fights crime.
If that's what it takes, hey, I'm all for it.
Okay, well, it's just your money they're pissing away, dude. However you want to look at it. I'll try to look at it things. It's like, what can we spend money on that will give us a return on investment, as opposed to all this stuff we've been doing for the rest, for the first 50 years of my life. So another thing I never thought I'd see is the whole damn back to school bash in Baldwin County is being headlined by the school resource officers. Now, the idea that we not only do we have hero warrior cops, but that they are the beating heart of our school systems is almost as terrifying as people on the street corners in the nation's capital, in my mind. Because
again, the purpose of government is to maintain order, and that includes in the schools. And so we have.
Is that the purpose of government, Brandon? I don't think that's the purpose of government. Not in my life. It's to ensure my personal freedom.
It's to maintain order.
No, it's to maintain my personal freedom.
In the classroom as well as order everywhere else.
Okay.
That's why we have school resource officers there. And if they're going to be there, why not have a party? We're here.
Yes. What a great authoritative man. I don't know where you were in 1938, but they sure could have used you in Berlin, Brandon. 1819 News presents Orange Beach mayoral debate. Speaking of fake news organizations, do you know the Alabama Policy Institute created 1819 News and controls their content?
They since have split.
Oh, so now it's just Brian Dawson, the guy who, if he sold that many drugs in Alabama, would still be making big rocks into little rocks. But because he did it in Colorado.
He's fortunate Colorado has very liberal judicial, prison release terms, but we don't have. But 1819 is its own separate nonprofit from the Alabama Policy Institute at this point, funded by wealthy backers who like 1819 News.
So anyway, they were the they emceed the debate between Jeff Boyd and Tony Kennon. And of course, Tony Kennon is the epitome of what happens when you don't have term limits in a small town where there's wild drug money and wild developer money flying around, and where half of the police officers if they'd have just told me the reason that we're going to keep narcotics as contraband is so that the cops can have a retirement plan, I probably could have been down with that. But them telling me that it's contraband and we're doing everything we can to get rid of it. Having lived here in Baldwin County for 51 years, I can tell you they're either totally incompetent or yeah. And
There's
I don't
an
think
awful
they're
lot of
incompetent.
drugs entering this country, and it's not difficult to put them on a car or a mule or airplane.
Sure. And then there's
Whatever.
and then there's the whole matter. Well, anyway, the municipal elections are coming up here. All the polling places, you need to bring your voter ID. And in Orange Beach in particular, there's this inconvenient story about the mayor's former best friend who they were both under suspicion, and that the FBI, now this is not my story, this is Lanny App's, the FBI used steroid cases proof of Orange Beach officials. And then, of course, Danny Williams died under mysterious circumstances Memorial Day weekend 2022. And in Perdita Pass in front of 40,000 people, and nobody saw a thing. Right. So, Brandon, do you know have you ever seen anybody fly up the flagpole as fast as Bill Lewis?
Bill Lewis was a well-respected judge in Elmore County for a very long period of time. And they sort of just let Bill be Bill doing his stuff. And then once the governor noticed him, well, then he got promoted to, Court of Civil Appeals. And then we had a vacancy on the Supreme Court back in May. And so the governor said, well, hey, let's just promote Bill Lewis because I have his file already on my desk. And now that got the attention of Senator Tubberville and Katie Britt, who recommended that President Trump promote him on up to the federal bench so he can decide some of these black robe questions that we're always talking about. I think he's a good judge. He'll make, he's better than some of these recent Biden appointees that we have on the bench for life. I don't know how Rodney would be if he was in the Senate, but hey, if I had to vote, I'd vote to confirm Bill Lewis.
And I would too. Like you said, he's done a good job, and I would basically say he's a grassroots judge from Elmore County, and he's got a good track record,
So do y'all know about this tragedy down here in Baldwin County this week? A friend of mine's, that's his little sister and her children. Anyway, her husband killed them and then killed himself. And I think that was that the second day of school, Brandon? Anyway.
It was pretty close to it.
Yeah, I think it was this past Tuesday. Anyway, doesn't matter when it was.
Yeah.
Horrible tragedy for our community. I can tell you
that you can have a disagreement with your wife. It never makes sense to kill her or kill the kid. So, whatever. You're having motion. I think a lot of this would decrease if we didn't use so much alcohol. But whatever causes this, it's like, hey, dude, get out of the house, calm down, go to a church, pray, whatever it takes to get, if you need to commit suicide, commit suicide. Don't take other people with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
This happens
were-
way too often in our society. I don't understand it, where this comes from. But there's no justification for it.
No, and anyway, like I said, they're her family. They're just real fine people. I don't know his family, and I'm as I understand it, they're like your prototypical family that you want living next door to you, if you know what I mean. So
It's just
nice
quite
neighborhood.
It's a senseless tragedy.
Yeah, nobody saw any of this stuff coming. So, Brandon, I want to talk to you about the Piggly Wiggly in Loxley, because I was shocked to find that our legislature did nothing to protect the poor little chillin' from the 600 milligrams of lion's mane mushroom, the 10 milligrams of CBD, and I don't even have, is it reishi mushroom, 300 milligrams? And of course, that is married along with the 5 milligrams of THC. So, I hate to use science to beat people about the head, but so Brandon, one of the issues that we heard from our legislators, they were talking about people selling 300 milligram drinks or 300 milligram gummies or whatever. So your body can only absorb like 30 milligrams of THC an hour. So it really doesn't matter how much you can't overdose on it because your body can't absorb it. Anyway, interestingly, you need about 25 milligrams an hour to maintain a euphoric feeling. Okay. So what do? We sell them in 4-packs. So you have to drink all 4 of them to even get a little bit of a buzz. But yeah, that's
You've got a stronger stomach than I do if you can do that. But
okay. Well, check out the wall of drinks, and just so there's Cheech and Chong's raspberry highball.
yeah, the legislature was originally going to ban this in grocery stores, but the grocers put up such a stink that when they passed HB 445, the grocers in the last version of the bill in the Senate got an opt-out because they were originally banned like the convenience stores were.
Okay, but the only way that you can consume THC in the state of Alabama is in a beverage, and that's not the grocery store.
No.
People, that's the beverage industry.
They also have gummies and like ointments and tinctures. There are edibles, but you can't do like the brownies or make Doritos with it or anything like that.
You can only sell 10 milligram gummies, and you have to sell them in packs of 4, just like these drinks here, right?
Yeah, this will be an issue. I mean, the U.S. Senate had a bill to shut this down and cut this, psychoactive cannabinoid loophole out of the Farm Bill, but they decided this past time that they're going to postpone it for a year and come back next July and think about it. Rodney, what's your view on the cannabis situation? Do we need federal regulation on, psychoactive cannabinoids derived from hemp? Do we need to reschedule marijuana? I mean, both these are things that are being talked about a bunch on the federal level.
Yes, sir. And it's regulated, on the state levels. We all know that Colorado and stuff like that allows you to, and they sell it through vending machines and different things. We also know that here in Alabama that most of the CBD products were banned altogether. I suppose that it will need some type of federal regulation all the way across, which may be great for the country to set the standards on that. There are a lot of people that are involved in the business, that are growing, that got the license the appropriate way, that may be shut down or caused to go bankrupt because of them changing the law at this time. There'll probably need to be a federal regulation though that is a blanket so that it doesn't change. Like right now, you can just basically drive to Georgia and get whatever that you want, it seems like, from the signs and the media over there. but it's shut down in Alabama. So that does nothing but push your tax money to a different state, really.
So another thing that I hope that that you and I are on the same philosophical wavelength of, I am sick to death of there ought to be a law Republicans. You know, that is the opposite of what Republicans do. Is we don't necessarily come up with layers and layers of regulation. And I'll give you an example. Do you know what the most Republican thing that President Trump could do right now? It's not move marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3.
Did we lose you, Harry?
We lost him.
Well, Rodney, you're in the cattle business. Cattle prices are great right now. Commodity prices, corn, soybeans, they're at like
They're at their bottom. They're the worst they've ever been.
Adjusted for inflation, this may be the lowest we've seen them since like the 80s.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. It's Harry that we lost.
Yes, sir. You know, I spoke about that the other night, that corn was down to $3.82 a bushel. You can't put it in the ground. It was $7.50 a bushel on the sales side, but you know, equipment's doubled and tripled in its price and that type of thing. I mean, if you're asking me how does cattle farmers feel about it, I mean, we're proud that right now we're getting the most money that there ever have been, you know, for our commodity. But at the same time, I think I would speak for everyone that said, by no shortage, we want to put corn producers out of business. We had rather, or I had rather for certain, see that spread across. Now, if you raise the price of corn to $5.50 a bushel, you're not going to, I mean, it's not going to devastate the cattle markets. You know, it might take basically 20 cents a pound, but like right now we're at $3.36 a pound for feeder calves.
Yeah, because the people that finish the cattle that, you know, put the extra 400, 500 pounds on them to get them to slaughter weight.
Yes, sir.
The cost of the gain is next to nothing, you know, because they're buying, you know,
they're either buying or raising real cheap corn. Yes, sir.
A lot of that seems to be because of the trade issues with the tariffs. And do you think some of that will resolve once we get past the current tariff renegotiation deal, where, you know, maybe some of these other countries that are punishing our commodity?
What I can say, yeah, Brandon, is this, that I spent a lot of time and a huge discussion on this a few weeks ago. But you know, like China has been our biggest trade partner for, say, a lot of ag commodities like corn and soybeans and so forth. But we've got to look into new markets too, like perhaps India, South Africa. There's so many other countries that we can move into into trading with the United States on grain that we haven't opened those doors to, and somebody's going to have to spend some time, you know, working out trade deals and trying to get more countries and other countries on board that aren't purchasing from us now.
Do we need a more robust farm bill? We're still working on the farm bill, so that we can keep our grain farmers, you know, I mean, viable until such time as we develop these new markets?
I believe so. There may be some people that are going to be against what I'm going to say, but at this point in time, it would be very viable to assist the family farmer and the non-corporate farmer, even in the way of subsidy, to get the price, you know, up some. Now, I didn't say a forever package or what have you, but nobody can survive on $3.82 corn and the input cost being $5 plus. I mean, you just can't constantly lose $1.20 a bushel. You're gonna lose the farm if you keep on doing that. So as far as right now, I think that we need to add in the farm bill some subsidy and different types of things, and then we need to really put our trade groups to work on different countries. Yes, sir.
Senator Tubberville has been a very vocal proponent for federal hog control. Some of our crop farmers have really suffered some real heavy losses, to the pigs, because the pigs will come in there. You put that expensive corn seed in the ground, hey, they'll go out there and eat it up, and soybeans particularly.
So we dealt with that problem here, even on our own farm. Like, they would go out and completely root up a Bermuda grass field or whatever. It would look like you went over it with a disc. But we was able to eradicate or trap those hogs, and they've moved on. They're not as much in our area at all anymore. And there are other ways of euthanizing, those wild hogs to get rid of them.
Understood.
Hey guys, I'm back, and
Okay.
I do want to jump in on this. Because the river swamp down here, we have high water every year, and we have problems with, when the swamp goes underwater, what is highland out there that's, still out is a good time to go out there with a mini 14 and just roll them up. And we had a bunch of good old boys around here doing that until the damn game organization got a hold of them. But yeah, we got lots of problems with feral hogs, and somebody turned loose those damn. Somebody over in Georgia turned loose a bunch of Russian boars that got loose, and now these damn things look like refrigerators running down. Black refrigerators running through the woods instead of, looks like a little bear cub or something you might see. No, hell no. Now these things are 250 pounds, 300 pounds.
So
Yeah, the Alabama game guys got in there. They made that illegal because there were people that were breeding purebred Russian wild boars, on little game farms, and then releasing boars out there in the wilds of Alabama on other people's land to improve, the trophy quality of the wild hogs that are eating up everybody's crops and knocking over their garbage cans. And so you get a bigger, beefier, scarier looking wild pig.
So one thing I'd like to add, Harry, is that you mentioned the good old boys, and then a game warden shut that down. If you own the property like we do, for instance, and you go to the game warden, the Department of Conservation, they're glad to work with you and give you permits for the eradication of those hogs, even night hunting permits and different things like that. And I do speak from experience on that, because we have done followed along those guidelines and been very successful with the eradication of the hogs here.
Well, our local soil and water conservation district actually hired a guy, and I thought about taking it as a part-time gig, $45,000 a year. I was like, shit, I could ride around the swamp shooting hogs out front bow of my boat. That'd be a lot of fun. But anyway, Pam wouldn't let me apply, but I thought about it momentarily. So, Brandon, besides the hot criminal and the new bridge, and I don't know, we're gonna have do you think we're gonna start having the parade every year where we roll tanks in the nation's capital and have flyovers?
We were celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Army. I kind of think.
I know, but when I'm president, it'll be the 233rd or something. You know what I mean? 283rd. We can all make a special occasion for some reason.
Well, next year will be
things are real strange.
it'll be the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I kind of think we'll have some cool parades for that too. Because I remember, you know, the bicentennial when I was in elementary school. I had a whole Revolutionary War uniform. I think we all did.
Well, I remember my daddy and all of them growing like the long beard and stuff, right? You remember all that? It was like 76. We're 4 or 5 years old. Anyway, I got a bunch of pictures from back then. I think that's a year. My sister's a bicentennial baby, so that's how I remember all that. So anyway, the other thing we got going on is our Danny Who premiere. Hopefully we'll get that. We'll get episode 1 out before the municipal election. Not that that's any kind of a deadline, but I did want to.
I'm a journalist. I can't make
the
any kind of
information.
endorsements.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that was the other thing. You know, we were handing these T-shirts out in the parking lot at the debate, and Marsh Beach Police Department, severing security, and the girl from 1819.
Yeah, that's why I didn't drive down there. I told you that.
Yeah, you need to roll your stuff up, Mr. Steele. And I said, but you got to understand, this is not for one candidate or the other. In my opinion, the mayor pro tem and the mayor are both responsible for what, you know, the police and fire department get up for too. So, I mean, we certainly weren't there to bash one candidate and endorse another or anything like that. But anyway, it was an interesting night, and there were probably 600-700 people there. I mean, I know they said there was 1,000, but I mean, I just like, I'd say honestly,
it's
probably
good to see
600
people
people
interested in who governs them, because I mean, again, everybody follows the governor's race. Everybody will follow Rodney and the other guys in the Senate race, but there'll be a fraction of that will show up for their mayor's race, you know, to vote in the mayoral election. There's almost nobody in government in America that can mess up your life more than your mayor and city council.
and that's why I keep trying to tell y'all, like, people need to be keeping their eye on what's going on in their town, and we ought to, and things at the federal level. There should be very little movement at the federal level from one decade to another. Okay, in my humble opinion.
Well,
and in the last,
when you swing
and in the
far
last
left
30
as we went
years,
up Biden and Obama, you know, you got to swing back the other way some with Trump. Again, if we had,
okay, but Trump, you know, if the big beautiful bill balanced the budget and we were all going to have to tighten our belts, I would be a little more forgiving in my support of our president. You understand what I was like? It's not that I don't support him. I think that he's just made some befumbled policy decisions because he surrounds himself with people who, while they were real good, you know, Rodney, I hate to, you know, disagree with you on one point. So the most prominent businessman in the United States in 1960 was Robert McNamara, who ran Ford Motor Company. And we brought him in to run the damn war in Vietnam. And it turns out that's not a good correlation, that you're good at this one thing that you'll be good at another. But from a perspective of someone going up there to serve us in the Senate, I think we will be well served to have a man with, is it not, I don't want to say that who's a jack of all trades in business, but you're certainly well diversified in that part of the state. Is that an understatement, Brandon? I mean, do we know many guys that are in the the trailer, the livestock? You've got several brick and mortar structures. You're in ag, and I think you bring a unique perspective. And, you know, you're the kind of guy that ought to be on the ag committee.
Yes, sir. And that would be very much one of my goals, is to get on the Senate Ag Committee. Yes, sir.
yes, Senator Tubberville has
But to
a
plug
seat
Brandon
in the Ag
and put
Committee.
him in charge of the Defense Department would not be a good idea, just because he's a good Republican.
Well, I
Yes,
mean,
ma'am.
again, there's a lot of people that, are on the fence that, don't know how to drive a tank. And again, there's people on ag that don't know a darn thing about growing corn.
That's right.
But Senator
Or what a
Tubberville
poke belly is.
has a seat on the ag committee. So that seat will be vacated. So if the Republicans maintain control of the Senate so that we still have the same number of senators, I think there's a good chance that John Thune may recommend that Rodney or whomever we elect can, maintain, a Alabama presence on the ag committee.
And
So I have a question. It's kind of a dumb question. Are you running your own campaign, or is somebody running it for you out of DC, or somebody local?
well,
Do you
so
have a team?
we have a team, and I'm the coach of the team. And then we have a man in Washington, D.C. that's a political consultant. He's the general consultant. And then we have a team of people that are in Montgomery that also work with us. And then we have a group of people that are on my staff already that are taking care of everything. We have a treasurer. We're trying to do this race the right way.
Well, listen, have a big party down at Fort Morgan. Have a big barbecue at Fort Morgan. Nobody's ever done it before. It's a state park. It's a beautiful place, and it's totally underutilized, and there's tons of parking.
I love Fort Morgan.
And I'll have an excuse to, go down there and hang out for a couple hours, as opposed to the obligatory, what is it, the Reagan banquet up in Winston County. Boy, that's a heck of a good time, isn't it, Brandon?
Yeah, I've been there.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, like, do us a favor that have to attend these things and do it somewhere fun and make it an interesting drive at least.
Harry, let me throw out this too. We have family. My wife is from Andalusia, Alabama. So, and that store that we just got finished with is in Opp, Alabama. So we have family and things there. I have family in Gulf Shores. I have a house on the Tennessee River in a little town called Waterloo, Alabama. It's as far as you can get in the northwest corner of the state. We have friends and people in Huntsville, have friends and other folks in Tuscaloosa. I have a very diverse group of grassroots people that, are our friends that are not just that because we're running for election, but have been in our friendship for a long time, and we're using that friendship, to further our campaign.
Sure. Well, like I said, I'm looking forward to getting some more press releases, and Brandon, I'm sure he haunts you guys everywhere you go. So whenever you have a wing day,
yes,
yeah. So
Brandon,
whenever you have another wing day,
appreciate him being there, Brandon. Thank you for being in our kickoff event. You're welcome at anything that we do.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, since I'm having technical difficulties and we can't watch any of the funny videos I had for everybody, I guess I'll just have to throw them on the front and the back. Yeah, I had some pretty good ones, man. It's like I didn't have a video of like the sheriff falling off a log into the mud or anything like that, but pretty good stuff. Yeah, y'all will see it after post. Well, look, Mr. Walker, best of luck on your campaign, and Brandon, have a good week, man. I'm crawling back in bed and not getting out until tomorrow, the way all these gremlins are eating all my electronics up. But we'll get them worked out. But thank you for your time, and you guys have a good week. Okay.
Thank you so much for having us here today.
Have a good week, Harry, and thanks for coming on, Mr. Walker.
Yes, sir. Thank you.